Happy Monday. We got an awesome show for you today. Kong is back in the studio and we've got a blazing fast 50 minutes or so stream. Sorry, I will not be able to get too many, if any, questions. Definitely no expectations there, but we got a lot of stuff to cover. Are you ready, PulseChain? I'm excited. We'll get into it. Get chat in just a minute. Without further ado, Crypto Kong, welcome back to the show.
What's going on? How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Like I said, I was like, crap. It started a little bit later than I wanted to. Just busy morning, but I'm like, all right, Kong, we game planned a little bit yesterday. Got some
Yeah.
pretty cool topics to talk about. So I think we're good, man.
Yeah, I think today will be like always a good stream. We have a lot of good topics, I think. So we'll be able to I think we'll go over a lot of good stuff this time around. Like I don't know, like every time. So
Dude, every time I think you come on and you just kill it. So no expectations. However, Kong has a
yeah, no
ability to.
expectation.
Yes, as usual. But yeah, first off, let's hit off with that Ethereum ETF, man. Today's the 22nd. I've heard on the 24th. Is that what you're hearing as well? We're gonna get some go live.
I've heard some rumors and stuff. I'm more interested in what Price is doing, to be honest with you. I saw, I think it was like last night was sort of the last time I was really looking at like all the prices and stuff. But I saw everything kind of having a little bit of a retracement, maybe 1 or 2%. Another thing is if you guys remember back in March when we had our little let's call it altcoin frenzy, Ethereum, what was the price? Almost 4 grand, over 4 grand. When it was making its newer local all time highs. Now I don't think we're over 3,500 last time I checked. So I'm wondering, like, with this whole ETFs and stuff, it seems like Ethereum's a bit. It seems like the market is a bit hesitant to speculate on it potentially. I don't know. It doesn't look like there's like before when we had more people or like before when we had sorry it was more rumors about the ETF, less regulatory clarity. The SEC was going after Ethereum, and like there was no clarity before that, and you had a higher price. Now we have the SEC sort of backing down from Ethereum, and we have more clarity with when the NFTs will be coming, and the price is for some reason lower. And the reason why this is important is because I think a lot of people especially in PulseChain, like I think there's people out there with a lot of Ethereum, and like if the Ethereum price goes up, it could benefit our ecosystem as well. And we're known to be like leverage on PulseChain, or sorry, PulseChain is known to be leverage on Ethereum.
PulseChain is leverage on PulseChain. I like it. Dude. That
PulseChain is
actually sounds
leverage on
cool.
PulseChain. Um, so so yeah, I think what like we said, there's holders with a large amount of Ethereum. If Ethereum, if it does quite well, that would be quite good for like our ecosystem and stuff. I've seen a lot of, I don't know if it was Sami saying this or someone else. It could have been someone else, but they were talking about even with the ETFs and stuff, perhaps there's a diminishing allocation and or a diminishing sort of return with what happens with some of the ETFs. So, for example, if BlackRock gave Bitcoin, and I don't think, like, just as a random number, let's say it was 10%. I don't think it was 10%. Just throwing out a random number to like make it easy and stuff. But Ethereum, I'd only get like a 5% allocation, so like half as much. Um, and I don't know, maybe the institutions have already bought, but I remember when Bitcoin was uh, was having its rally, you had all of, I'm gonna say all of Twitter, but it obviously isn't all of Twitter, but a lot of crypto Twitter going on rampages about like BlackRock buying. You had all the people making like the different schematics and websites of like the holdings of BlackRock and all the different institutions. So I'm not, I haven't seen that same thing for Ethereum yet, which is quite weird. Like it seems like, and I don't really know where BlackRock is coming from, but you can build more on Ethereum. Ethereum does like more things. You have protocols, right? I think there's like what's it, inscriptions on Bitcoin and stuff like that, but Ethereum is the better technology, and it is like, I think Richard Hart says it is the superior. It is a superior even inflation model. It is a superior tech, and we're not really seeing this translate into price. But what I would like to see is these ETFs get approved, and some sort of, maybe that's a catalyst for more price action and stuff like that. So, but it's very
Yeah.
interesting. Go ahead.
So when the Bitcoin one happened, I mean, Bitcoin was around 40 some K, then hit the all time high, 70, what was it, 73, 76, somewhere through there. So
Somewhere
it
around
did
there.
happen with Bitcoin. So, I think that's a big question. People are wondering, oh, it happened with Bitcoin. It went up, it almost doubled, for example, after the ETF. Well, if Ethereum is undervalued or, it could be leverage or otherwise, like, will it, do 2, 3X, 4X? And people are talking 8, 12, 12K, all that stuff too. Do you think that's possible?
I think it's possible. I mean, I think it depends on like how much hype we get and how much attention is surrounded with crypto and stuff. Um, it's a bit weird right now. Like, even I think macro wise, like in terms of the stock market and stuff, a lot of the things are at all time highs, and you have like a lot of things like GME, uh, like they're doing their thing as of like, I guess, a couple months ago and stuff. But I don't know where the top will be. I don't know how much of a frenzy we'll get. It'd be cool. I think Ethereum, it's lower liquidity than Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's probably the most liquid crypto out of them all. So if even, and I'd have to look at some pools and like there's more nuance, right? But even if, let's say, you had half as much money getting injected to Ethereum, we could see quite substantial gains, right? Just because of the thinner pools and stuff like that. And Ethereum still has quite thick liquidity, right? Like, it's not like there's only like 20 million or $50 million, and I'm saying only. That's still quite a lot of liquidity. But yeah, it's probably Ethereum's a lot less liquid than Bitcoin, so we'll see how high the prices can get. Um, but I'm not too sure. I've seen a lot of people say like maybe 30K, 20K, and perhaps it's possible, and especially like on a long enough time frame. But we'll see what this cycle has for us in store. But like we are saying, I think Ethereum is extremely undervalued right now. Like the market, it doesn't seem to be pricing it the same way it was pricing Bitcoin and those ETFs and stuff like that, especially relative, like I was saying earlier, relative to where we were in the market. Ethereum seems a lot more freed up, yet the prices, it hasn't breached back its old previous local all-time high of $4,000, right? And we haven't even broken the 2021 all-time high of, what was it, 4,500, 4,800, something like that. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm more. I would like to see people maybe start buying the rumor a bit more, but I'm going to be paying attention to price action, because I remember last stream, I think it was me and you, RHMax, when the ETF started to get rumored. You had Ethereum have that big sort of candlestick, right? And we watched it pump up in real time, basically. So I would like to see something like that. Um, I think and it's also a bit more nuanced, right? Like we also had Bitcoin. I think it sold the news a little bit on the ETF day in January. But it did come back, right, a little bit later. Like it made its local bottom after the ETF like sell the news, and it went ahead and made new all time highs. So I don't know, maybe Ethereum rhymes something similar with what Bitcoin did, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm gonna be paying attention to the price action, and we'll see what happens on the 24th then. So
Very excited this week. Yeah, Ethereum ETFs. Speaking of that, if PulseChain has become leverage on Ethereum and otherwise. So the fun poll the other day, will PulseChain 10,000x from its all-time lows? Just a heat check, and had almost 1,200 votes. So pretty good distribution of people weighing in on this. Yes, there was a yes, 60-40. Yeah, I think somebody commented a few months ago, this would be like 70-30. Probably a year ago, I'm going to guess it would be like 90-10. But this is a representation of people in the community believing, will it get to happen, manifesting it one way or another, or just, hey, haven't given up on the endless possibilities of PulseChain, which I think, again, it's what was yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. if the consensus is, oh, there's no way this can happen, everyone gave up on, if market cap really does matter now, or how can this possibly happen after we haven't seen retail come in, we haven't seen these things happen. How do you feel about the 10,000x narrative, and is it over? Is it over like hex staking is over? In that category of beliefs, is it just the red candle syndrome? What do you think?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I I I like it when it's kind of like this 60-40 or 50-50. Because you need to have, I don't want to say non-believers, but just non-believers if they believe PulseChain won't ever 10,000x from the low. Um, who knows if it's this cycle or if it takes 2 cycles or 3 cycles, and who knows if like what will happen, right? But um, it's nice to have sort of the distribution of people, because you need to have like people that just can't believe it, and then as well as you need to have the believers, like the people that will hold their bags until like the 1,000x or the 10,000x, stuff like that, right? So it goes both ways. I think it's sort of nice to see this distribution. If it's something more like a 90-10, that could be good as well, depending on like if people like really, really, really believe it. Um, it sort of depends because Pulse Chain's a bit weird because you'll have obviously it's a red candle syndrome. Like people have sold tokens, like that's why the price goes down and stuff like that. That's the only reason why the price goes down, right? Is the ratios in the pool and people trading in and out of them. But um, I don't know, it to have and it goes to show you we actually do have the believers still, and like I don't know, there's people who have watched they've watched plenty of hours of, I don't know, hundreds of hours, maybe even thousands of hours of RH streams. And I think like out of respect too, because like you could imagine that's his content, right? Like he sat there and he produced everything, and he did those 6 hour live streams. He did, I think there might have been some 8 hour live streams or 7 hour live streams in there. He did those, right? And people like I think it's like at least a little bit for me as well. Like I sort of like I have all these things like I don't know if like they're probably like just in my subconscious, right? And it's like you act on it every single day, but you're not. It's like not on your mind. It's like breathing, right? Like you're breathing every single day, but you're not like thinking about breathing. So I think like a lot of the RH ideals are like that. It's like once you've studied enough, once you've done enough research, it sort of just becomes like your second nature, and you understand like delayed gratification, because it is a good point. And like I think RH might have brought it up. There's plenty of studies, right, where they, and I don't know, like a study is just a study, but it'll show you like kids who are able to delay gratification, and like instead of taking one cookie now, take 2 cookies later. They tend to be that's like a more successful. Like they tend to be more successful, right? And this is the whole point of hex. Like and it is a little bit more nuanced, right? Like obviously you can't like have like you have to trade eventually, or you just have either paper gains or you've never actually made any money. Um, but there
Shout out to
is
Godwell. We appreciate you, Godwell, and
yeah.
for locking all that up for such a long period of time. But not everyone can do that, or not everyone's rich enough to just be like, yeah, this is just a fun. I just want to support the community type of thing.
Exactly, right. And you have those ideals, and like obviously like there's people that stand by it, and it's not a negative thing. Like it's I think partially, like I don't know if that is what hex stands for, but that's what makes it, that was one of the things that made it so great, right? Is like the inflation model, and instead of paying miners to dump the price down, you pay people who delay their gratification and hold the price up. But back to the question of like, will Pulse Chain or whatever 10,000x from the lows? Who knows, right? It's nice to have this even distribution. I'm sure if you asked people in Hex, I don't know what the ratio would have been, but there probably would have been a lot more no's, especially it's probably a bit different when you have like a poll from within our community versus if you were to like throw out a poll into the cryptoverse, you would probably you'd probably have majority just like people thinking it's a scam, like probably not going to do anything, right? And that is also like that's a contrarian play, right? Like and I think that's another reason why PulseChain could do a lot of gains from the lows is you have the actual community that believes, and maybe some of them don't, which is all good, right? But you also have like the outsiders who, let's say, don't know, haven't done as much research as somebody else who's actually in the community, who's like listened to Richard Hart. Those people who like can't believe these things would actually go up. That's sometimes the reason why they go up so much. Like you saw that happen with HEX. Like you guys remember all the debates Richard did. Like nobody would believe HEX would be anything at all. And then you could watch these things while HEX like it was doing its whole price performance, right?
Hmm.
The people kind of sound stupid, right? Saying like HEX is gonna be nothing, but it turns out it's something. So
Well, it just maybe imagine if you would have, when Bitcoin first came out or Ethereum first came out, and well, let's just take Bitcoin for example, and they did a poll. I wonder how many, financial advisors they polled, or just professional people, the big banks or otherwise. Like, hey, do you think Bitcoin is going to be successful? Do you think it's going to make it? Do you think it's going to be banned? You can imagine the results of those polls in the early days, and now completely flipped. It's a financial product. Big banks are in. The ETFs, all that stuff too. So it kind of made me think of that kind of that point as well in the early days of anything that people don't believe in.
that is a very good point, right? Like you obviously like nobody really believed in Bitcoin. Like you couldn't give it away on the street. I thought I saw a documentary of like people trying to give away Bitcoin, or like at least selling it for like a massive discount where you could just like you could arb them on the spot, just like immediately. But like nobody wants it, right? Like get me away from that thing. And I'm sure there was some smart money behind the scenes, like picking it up, blah 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 blah, like later on down the road. But if we're talking like where Hex is now, but like relative to like Bitcoin time frame, you'd probably have nobody believing there would ever be. Maybe there's rumors of an ETF, but you wouldn't have a consensus of this, right?
Yeah.
Most likely not. And now you see down the road like what actually came to be. And I'm sure if like Satoshi Nakamoto, if who or whatever that person, whoever you are, right? I'm sure if you told them, or if I don't think they designed Bitcoin with the intent that BlackRock was gonna institutionalize it and create ETFs for it.
It's not in
Maybe
the white
that was
paper, as
his
far as I know.
intent. Yeah, right. I thought it was for like
Peer-to-peer digital
peer-to-peer
cash.
transactions, right? Yeah. So what a concept, but it's weird, right? Like you see these things like they come together with time. And like we were saying, if you had applied the delayed gratification to Bitcoin, and if you were actually a believer from day one, and for some reason you were crazy enough to believe that, you probably got paid off massively, right? Massively. Like, what is that? What I'm forgetting his name, but the one guy, he's always wearing the Bitcoin shirt. He told you to buy Bitcoin when it was like $1. I forget his name, but he debated
Mm.
Peter Schiff, stuff like that. Um,
He's not coming to mind for some reason. I know a lot of. I mean, just the fact that there's tons. There's got to be a percentage. You run the numbers of percentage of like millionaires and billionaires in the world who got rich from buying Bitcoin early, from taking a chance and just accumulating so much and holding on to it over time. Delayed gratification part got to be a huge piece of the rich people in the world now. Um,
and even Richard Hart, right? Like, I'm sure he learned from his Bitcoin experience and is trying to like apply that sort of knowledge into Hex. And I think that was one of the reasons why he introduced like these long stakes. And we have like one of the like nobody else in crypto stakes for an average of, I think last time it was like 6 or 7 years. It might have gone down a bit because of the PulseChain. It might be like a bit lower than that over there, but no other community has that, right? Um, and you can time lock Bitcoin, but like nobody, I don't think anybody does it, right? Like it's not like common practice. But if you
Oh,
did back in the day, yeah, Da
just
Vinci, that's right.
yeah, I just looked it up too. Da Vinci. Yeah. Okay. I think it
Uh,
spells it with a. Sorry, go ahead.
I
Yeah.
didn't give that much of a like a description, so that's cool. You
Chat is
actually
paying
got
attention
it.
today. Yeah, good job,
Yeah.
chat. Um, how did I even look that? Oh yeah, I think it's spelled like this for my what my yeah. There we go.
Yeah, this guy.
This guy. Okay.
Yeah, he has like the YouTube video. He was telling, I don't know, people to buy Bitcoin. He was, I guess, a believer
Oh
in it, and
yeah. Somebody sent. I said I came across this video the other day. It was like 10 years ago. I
you'll
think it
see
got
it.
pushed in my feed. I watched it. And I was
It
like,
goes viral.
"That's so funny." Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
and he's debated Peter Schiff. I think I watched some of the debate. Um, but yeah, Peter Schiff, like he's like an avid Bitcoin hater, uh, for some reason, right? Whichever reason, but yeah,
Da
he
Vinci
was.
Jeremy, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was telling people to believe, right? And he was a believer, and it clearly like it paid off and it worked. Like I don't really know his story too much. Like obviously, like it could all be like just like persona or something, but perhaps like the conviction was really there, and
Well, he's on a
like
boat now,
truly,
so
yeah, right. Like but there is that. Not everyone. Yeah, not everyone. Yep, Da Vinci is one of the first Bitcoiners came across way back. Exactly, right? Like, and I think he gave like you probably like you need to have those people like in the community, right? And I think even Richard was one of them. Back in the day, like I think he hated Ethereum, and then he flipped after like certain circumstances, like they didn't roll back the chain for one of the who's it like founder guys or major dev guys or something like that. And I don't know, he just changed his worldview on it. But yeah, this sort of thing is sort of like this is what we're seeing, and maybe it happens in Hex. But that is the whole point. Like Richard says, he's here for glory, right? Like he built the better Bitcoin, and I think technically, and even technology wise, like it is the better Bitcoin, right? Maybe the narrative isn't there, and like you don't have an ETF yet, but the technology is there, right? So
Pulse ETF, Hex ETF. I don't know. Somebody mentioned the other day. I'm like, I don't think I want one right now. That means maybe the gains will like every time an ETF happens, it historically speaking, what the gains diminish. So I'm like, let's run it. Maybe let's do 10,000x first, or do something, do some amazing numbers, and then start talking ETF, and then get listed. And wouldn't that be amazing too? And even from this poll, if even if the yeses are willing it to happen, wanting it to happen, even more than yeah, I mean, like what at a certain point, like what is the difference between belief and just like willpower? Like I think there's an interesting dynamic there of like if you want something to happen so much versus if you actually believe it can happen. I mean, I guess there's an unhealthy narrative on that too, to a certain degree, but honestly, is that almost just is that kind of the formula for conviction, the formula for like staying with something if you believe it enough to uh, to hold on and make it happen. I don't know. Anyways, interesting poll though. I'm glad we could put that up. And speaking of better Bitcoin, you said that, and I've heard some people say Hex is a better Bitcoin. Have you heard that before?
that's perfect. Yeah, no, I like you brought up this chart, um, because it goes to show, right? Hex is the better Bitcoin. Like it has the better design model, it has the better inflation model, it has the better technicalities, it has the better mechanics, right? And it's on like it doesn't take 3 days to send Bitcoin. I don't know about you, but I've done Bitcoin transactions on the blockchain, and I had to stop, right? Like I like it's not unusable, but it's borderline unusable. Like I wouldn't want to use Bitcoin if I had the choice to. Like Ethereum is definitely the better choice, or PulseChain is the better version of Ethereum. So like there's that too. But when you're talking about Hex and stuff, like I like you bring up, and I like Crispy Man's analysis a lot because he sort of goes to show like the actual the data, right? So right now, if you want to be um I think it's a whale, you need about like 9,000 T shares. if I'm correct. I think there's sub 9 million t-shirts in circulation right now. Last time I checked. And I think we just broke under 9 million as of recently, actually. So you would need about 9,000 t-shares in order to be a whale in today's date. I don't know how much that would cost you, but it'd be quite a significant amount. Now, if you even wanted to be a shark, right, which is only 20 t-shares, it is in this, I'm gonna say in this economy of hex, right, at these prices, even for ehex and stuff, like that's perfect, the calculator. It's not that much money, right? And there's the hex price and stuff like that. So
Doing some quick math here for how long to get 9,000 T share. Let's just do this, see what it says. To get 9,000, where are we at? T-shares, 483. Okay, so a lot. Let's keep going. 4,000. You said 9,000?
9,000 to be a whale.
So let's do that. And are you thinking, do you want me to do short term, long term?
Probably like if it was short term, that would cost you a fortune, right?
So for a year, let's do it for, yeah, I just, I want to make it more realistic as possible as far as like, if we do it 15 years, then like, okay, well, you know, I'm just trying to speak right now. Okay, 9,000 t-shirts for 1 year would cost $2 million, almost 2 million.
There you go. To
Yeah,
be a whale, like at today's market price, right?
today's market price
Um,
for a year to be a whale for t-shares, getting that'll get you about 9,500 t-shares, almost $2 million. That is seems hard to do unless you have the whale bankroll.
right. And like for the average investor, for the average like retail investor, like this isn't really plausible, right? Like don't some people don't make $2 million in a lifetime, like after taxes and like things like of this nature, right? Like you're not pulling in this much money after a lifetime, perhaps. So, to say like you're gonna that you have to accumulate this much hex to get like a whale position is quite a significant amount. Now, if you want to do some math for a 555 to see how many t shares it would or how much it would cost to get 200 t shares.
Oh, to get 200 t-shirts.
Yeah.
Uh, there we go. Pretty close. 220.
20 grand.
So yeah, so 20 grand. Just what was it, just 2.5 million hex for 20 grand, but 5555. So 20 grand. Yeah, for a 5555 stake.
And that's on the p hex as well. Like I'm sure you can still speculate on e hex like Richard says not to, which is probably like not a bad idea, right? But you like you get
Drop
the
a
same
million
amount
off of
of
that.
yeah.
Let's see, 136. So let's do around, two, around that. Yeah, more. Come on. Shout out to hexcalc.net. You're awesome. Sometimes. Why? Come on. Works really well. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't for some reason. Maybe it's just my browser.
It's just because we're on stream, it wants to
Let's try it one more time. Let's see what I say. 20, 25, 2.5 mil, 5555 on Ethereum. Okay. It's not working right now. Anyways, what was that? It would be around 2,600. So, okay. So if I'll just go to CoinPaprika. Got a nice little calculator here. Hex, bear with us, folks, just a second. Where's eHex? Okay. And then,
I didn't know they had it listed like that.
yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, they actually separate them out. So, was it 3K? 2.5 mil, 123, 123. Yeah, 2.5 mil, around 3K. That should get around 200 t-shares for 5555 from what I remember from the last screen.
And this is what we're talking about, right? So if you wanted to be a whale in 2039, you might have to wait until the end of the year, but you could accumulate your hex, right, in the meantime get all your hex sorted out, the t-share rate will increase. So even if you're on the pulse chain, or like if you're on the pulse chain, it's a little bit more expensive. Like was it like 20 grand or something on the pulse chain?
Yeah, so it looks like it's 20 grand compared to 4 grand, somewhere through there. Is that the difference?
I believe so, like for pulse chain
Yeah, because that's
versus
about,
Ethereum.
yeah, because we're at, was it, it's like 7 cents, two zeros and seven on, let me just look up hex real quick. That would make, yeah, 3 times as much, 3 or 4 times as much, somewhere through there. Let's go with that.
But yeah, so I mean that goes to show you, like, if you want to be a whale and you're able to delay gratification, you could you could make up $2 million and you could be a whale in the ecosystem, at stake for like a year, which is that would make sense if you're a whale. Like, not everyone's the god whale, right?
Hmm.
And 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 this way, like if you were to spend $2 million, you can do that thing. You could do your thing. But if you spend 20K, or if you want to bet on the Ethereum side, who knows where it's going to be down the line? But I'm sure like the hex code is still going to exist, right? Um, yeah, you're talking about less than 5K, right, to become a whale in the future of hex, right? That's a big position. Not everyone can say they're a T-share whale, right? Um, that, like, you have to have a significant size of the pool, right? Like 9,000 T-shares is $2 million today. Um, like I said, some people won't make that in an entire lifetime. So, and
Right.
I think most people don't make that in an entire lifetime. Like even after taxes and stuff. Like if you want to talk about that, but yeah, contrarian long term, and comes with crypto risk, of course. You won't be able to go back in time to this moment where the t-shirt rate and prices are this low. And he's right, right? Like, it is contrarian, it is long term. It obviously comes with the crypto risk, but you will not be able to go back in time to this t-shirt rate, and to where prices are where they are at today, right? Like, there's people who believe that PulseChain and perhaps PHEX and HEX, I don't know if those ones will do a 10,000x from here, but if we're talking about liquidity bonding, maybe they do, right? And they've dropped so much. I mean, Richard will tell you it's a new chart, but EHEX at least dropped so much where maybe it goes on to do another crazy run, right? Like Richard said, like, PulseChain can do a 10,000x, HEX can do a million x. So who knows who knows what happens. But Crispy Man, hexfire.io, is completely right. You won't be able to, like, this is your second opportunity, right? Like, if you missed Hex in 2020, now is the time. Like, I'm sure people were dying for T-shares when Hex was 50 cents. Like, thinking about the future possibility, like, oh yeah, when the T-share rate hits 100,000 Hex and Hex is $1, the T-shirt is going to be 100 grand. I need to get a T-shirt today, right? And we just talked about how you can get like essentially a whale position for anywhere from 5 grand to 20 grand, um, if you want to delay gratification. So
So just to clarify for people too, so right now to be a whale on T-shares, need around 9,000 T-shares, which comes up to, if you did it for stake for a year, for example, around almost $2 million. And then in 15 years from now, in the 2039 league, it would take, it only takes 200 T-shares, which is basically like a few thousand, what was it, from like 4,000 to $20,000 or so, to become a whale in that league, with T-shares for around 200 versus 9,000 today. So it's talking about like how in 15 years, getting them cheap, so much cheaper now. It's almost saying, I don't know, I wonder if there's a correlation between like that 2 million versus the 20K. Is there like is there some, like, I haven't did the math. Is there something like, oh, they're 100x cheaper today, or like some kind of like, deal there? I'm not sure. I haven't thought about it, but
there's there's
interesting.
probably there's probably a way to quantify that, to
Mm-hmm.
say like even if the hex price was the same, like, it would cost you however much more. Maybe I'll figure that out for another stream and stuff, because that is an interesting point, right? Like you're buying the T-shares for cheap, right? The T-share rate, it only goes up. It only goes up every single day, like HEX stakes and people EES. Even recently we had, it was 10 HEX payout per T-share because of
Mm.
penalties. So and this happens frequently. Like it's not like it's not a rare like one time event. Like if you look at the EES penalties, like you can, it's not only like the base inflation you'll make, but you could also add up all these penalties that are all paying you dividends, right? From the other people who aren't delaying gratification. So you get their cherry on top. So yeah, I like this clip. I think this one was going viral. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. Um, we can't. I don't know if is there audio? Are you able to share any audio?
I cannot do audio, unfortunately.
All good. Um,
We got the caption, so at least.
but yeah, this is. I mean, Richard has says it plenty of time. Like he's here for glory. And he said it plenty of times too. Like I have a couple of clips I've taken. Like, and he said it plenty of times. Like if you've watched RH's debates, like I think I've watched, I want to say like 95% of all RH debates. Like if he's on stream with another person, like I've tried to scour the internet for as many of those, let's call them interviews or debates or whatever you want to call them. And he'll tell you pretty much the same things in the mall, right? Like he wants to be the best. He makes a good point in this Twitter clip. He says who's the fastest runner in the world, and then it's Usain Bolt, and then who's the second fastest?
Nobody
Nobody
knows.
knows. I still don't know even after he brought it up. Like I have no idea. Um, Even like if you think about like swimming and stuff, or like whatever, right? Like everyone can name like the top gold medalists, but usually the team or the person who's number two, like all the love, like Richard says, all the love goes to number one. And maybe that's what it's like with Bitcoin right now. And it also has like the first mover advantage, but yeah, first place got all the love. And Richard says it, he's in it for glory. And the hashtag is Richard Hart was right. And you can watch his videos. They are timeless in a sense. Like I'm sure if 10 years down the road you're watching these RH streams, like the information will still apply, even for crypto terms. Like it, and it's weird because usually information like in crypto expires after like 3 months. Like not everything, but like some of the things like just have quick expiration dates, right? But RH like some of the information he has is actually timeless. So
Yeah, evergreen content. He's talked about that before too, of like creating evergreen content that'll outlast. You know, like, yeah. Again, he's things change. You know, there's certain things that he's you can say he's changed his mind on or turned out differently or otherwise. But there's a lot of foundational ideas. Again, a lot of stuff in Scivive and otherwise that are just evergreen content, timeless, like you said, just really good mental models. And yeah, I don't know how every time someone's like, oh, either Richard's wrong or even if it doesn't, to me, it's like I don't have to agree with everything somebody says in order to see that they are a great leader and have the ability and intellect and ideals to literally like be a force for good in the world, change the world, do great things. And why wouldn't you want to be a part of that? So it always gets muddied up in all this, like, oh, things are up and down and all this stuff. I don't know. Well, it's hard to look at the bigger picture, but I think it's pretty important to do that from time to time.
another thing as well is this Sami video. I recommend it's a less than 2 minutes long, but it just captures pretty much like everything you need to know about the PulseChain ecosystem, Richard Hart and FUD. Please, if you're watching the stream, maybe after the stream is over, go ahead and like play the 2 minute Sami video. Like here it is. I'll show you the date. It was posted 2 weeks ago, um, July 7th. There you guys go. It's all here. So I'll just go over like a quick sort of like rundown. All he says is like there's these FUD narratives that get thrown out and they're wrong. Like one after another, after another, after another. Like for example, PulseChain's never coming out. Completely wrong. Um, what was the next one? The Richard's hiding from the SEC, and I think there's more in between. I'm just forgetting, but another FUD narrative. Richard's hiding from the SEC, proven to be completely false. Right? He's actually like it looks like he's almost on offense now, rather than trying to defend himself. Like he's actually going after the SEC. Um, and then the next thing, I think he brings up more points in this, but the next thing he sort of says is the FUD is that PulseChain and HEX in the ecosystem isn't going to perform, um, and that it's gonna do bad, right? That's the next FUD article, the next FUD narrative, um, and it's like these people who, and I think he's talking about a specific person. I'm not going to name any names, but they're a founder. I think he's talking about a founder of a particular coin that vampire attacked HEX starting back in I don't know 2023, maybe it was 2022 even. That's all I'm going to say. But I think he's talking about a particular founder and certain things that this founder said about like the Pulse chain and how like this particular, and I don't really know. I'm kind of just speculating a little bit on that here. But from what I'm getting, it sounds like the same FUD that this person was bringing up every single so often. And they just have a track record of being wrong. And you can believe you can believe whatever you want to believe, right? You can believe the person who has the faulty track record. But if you're making all of these wrong calls, like you're almost becoming like a Jim Cramer, right? And Somni should also give you. I'm not saying use Somni as an indicator, but it should give you a lot of confidence in the Pulse chain ecosystem, because I don't know, a lot of people they don't have a Somni, and I think he's actually a very valuable asset to the community, and he's also very knowledgeable, and I think he's also pretty rational as well. He has his like silly moments and stuff, but he understands the market, and he's very good at I don't know. He says 18 hours a day at the computer, and I think I believe it. Like I don't think he. I think he's like he has dreams of scrolling through Twitter probably, but yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah, I mean, always again, just on zooming out point too, we have all these amazing personalities and people who put in time, energy, effort, capital, and stuff, and there is no other ecosystem that has a Sami. There's no other ecosystem that has coffee or Kong or Fast Abdul or let's see, always in the chat saying hashtag Camel Club or
Let's
Candle
talk
Club,
bribes.
the bribes or the brides, all that fun stuff. I mean, it's really good to appreciate everyone out there, whether you agree with everything they say or do or whatever or not. They're, all these people are just fundamental, irreplaceable pieces of the ecosystem that just, I don't know, again, it's like everyone's like so zoomed in all the time. Oh, just what, just everything, criticizing this and that. And it's like, man, I don't want Sami to leave the ecosystem. I don't want, other people to leave it either. Even if there's some video I don't like or whatever, I don't care. Like there's probably 10 other videos that I do like. So as long as I, people say do whatever they want, as long as I see them being a net positive to the ecosystem, and I see what they bring is unique and novel and like giving us an edge, I'm going to try my best to support that and take that in consideration.
Definitely, and like I'm also a big proponent of like thinking for yourself and like just doing your own research and stuff like that. And I don't like no one's gonna be on the planet forever, right? And like make sure that like you're setting yourself up and like it's nice. I think Pulse Chain, one of the reasons why, and like Hex, one of the reasons why it's so great is because you have all these people who like they go out of their way, and maybe it's not out of their way, but they take time out of their day to actually produce content, right? To the point where the SEC couldn't even believe that they were just doing it out of their own like free will, and they thought like they were getting paid behind the scenes, right? Which
That's
is
an
like
amazing point. That's an amazing point. Like people are like literally like, I can't believe you would do this for free. I can't believe somebody wouldn't be paying you directly to do these things. You do it because you're aligned. It's in your best interest to, or you're just passionate enough to be like, this is going to be good for the future if I'm able to contribute now.
And most people are paid too, right? Like you don't even have people that are paid to talk about things talking about them in the same light that you have like our ecosystem and our community talking about these products, which is it's not like anything else, right? But yeah, definitely like don't rely on, let's say, content creators as like your only like fuel, or like for like knowledge or something like that. You obviously need to like get information and like news from somewhere. Um, but yeah, definitely I like I don't know, just I don't know. Um, I'm not telling anyone to go like just like binge watch all of Sami's videos and like have to like listen to everything he says. I don't think that's what we're saying, but it's just like just about like the whole community, right? And everybody here, and like Sami brings up some good points and stuff. So um yeah, there's that. Definitely recommend checking this out. I don't know, I don't think I'll put the link in the chat, but yeah, people could probably see it on the URL and stuff like that. So on the video,
We'll keep it a mystery. Yeah, just search for your friend Sami, PulseChain FUD, and you'll see that's a pretty recent one. Wrap up. Only got a couple minutes left though. You want to hit on Communis, and then the last one I'll save the hexologist tweet for the bridge real quick.
so yeah, calm is pretty interesting. I think like the only way you can like calm comes through the T-shares, right? And Axis and Crispy I think they do a very good job of explaining it. I'm not I'm not a master at calm. I do a lot of Iosa, I do a lot of Hex. But I do like calm a lot. I like the one on PulseChain. I think it has a good price chart. Um, see if I can pull it up as well. Yeah, communist, here it is. Yeah, it has a very good price chart, I think. Yeah, take a look at this, guys. And I'll also put it on the log because Richard Hart loves the log scale. But yeah, you can see here recently even it's done its little thing, right? So the whole point, I think one of the whole points is there's plenty of projects on the Pulse chain. And I kind of talked about this last time as well. Like don't get scammed. And I kind of just I don't want to get into like the whole Latina thing, but that was an unfortunate situation. And like I was telling people to like last stream, like just I don't know, don't be the first person to try things out, and let things ride their course. But like and there's plenty of good altcoins on the Pulse chain, right? There's Iosa. I might bring that one up as well, just because we're talking about like Hex and Hex derivatives and stuff like that. But here's Calm, right? We can clearly see like if like this is not a bad chart whatsoever, right? And it's had this little, it looks like it was accumulating down here for a little bit. And now it's popped off, right? And I don't know if it's going to do a fake out and do any retracements. I'm not telling anyone to buy. I'm not telling anyone to sell. I'm just like pointing out the fact that like this chart does not look bad. Even back in, look at this, December to February. I don't know how many X's this was, but 11 zeros 4 to 10 zeros 8. So it looks like it maybe 500% gain there. And it probably did even more if you were like if you got in it extremely early when PulseChain was coming out. But this token I think is interesting. Axis brings up some good points about it. I think I think it gets hard. It gets harder to like inflate, and it gets harder to come by, assuming that the T shares are deflationary, right? And you're not having people come in and mint a whole bunch of T shares. Because how it works is I think I've minted Calm before, but you need to have T shares, like native T shares, and you need to like you go and like you mint your communists against your T shirts, sort of like Hedron, I guess you could say. But as T-shares become more scarce, I think communists, like if people decide to take it off of the market, and there's no way, like in 10 years, we've talked about how, like right now, a whale is 9,000 T-shares, and 10 or 15 years, you're going to be down to 200 T-shares gets you a whale position. Imagine how much, like the communists, it's going to be
Quad fathers.
it's going to be a lot more scarce, right? So I don't know. This is one thing I actually picked up some of this a little while ago, like when it was accumulating. I think even a little bit before, like around like in May or something. But this is one thing I'm going to be paying attention to. Same with, and I've always had Icosa on my radar, but even as of recently, I kind of wanted to bring this up real quick as well. Um, Icosa from Ethereum. This token, I if you look at the PulseChain chart, it's I think it's better than the Ethereum one, because the Ethereum one, it looks like one of those forever down charts a little bit. I think partially just because of like when it was launched, and like when PulseChain was launched, and like how the recent price performance has been as of recently. But if we're taking a look at Icosa from Ethereum, it's interesting because we know now we have new protocols like iBurn, sort of, I don't know, built to utilize and sort of buy and burn and reduce the supply of Icosa, both of them, like the derivative one and the native to PulseChain one. So this is going to be a chart that like I started to pay attention to this one a little bit more as well. I started to get a little bit more DCAs, like you can see here. This was like a 13x move or something like this from the lows. So yeah, 13x move from the lows. It had also recently Icosa on Ethereum, and I think this was one of the my theses from back in the day, was Icosa will outperform HEX, and it does, right? Like from time to time. That's not it. I should have it even saved somewhere, right? Here, I have it bookmarked because I don't know why I can't search for it, but here we are. Here's the one on Ethereum. And then when I price it in HEX, you can see this chart looks probably 10 times better, even as of recently and stuff like this. Like we haven't seen Icosa worth this much HEX, at least EHEX, in a very long time. You can actually see how long it's been since it's been worth this much, like January of 2023. So like Icosa it's actually killing it, sort of behind the scenes. Like a lot of people, I don't know if they're paying attention. Obviously not, because the price has gone down since like the 30-cent high. Like we're down almost 90%, right? But you can see here it made completely new all-time highs on the HEX chart, partially because EHEX went down so much. But it goes to show you, like, the I don't know if it has to do, I don't think it has much to do with the fact that is like the iShare and it is the HEX derivative, but I think it has a little bit to do with that, right? Because that is the whole point of why it even exists in the first place. I think iBurn was one of the catalysts that brought it there. But it's interesting to see, like, Icosa storing a lot of value versus HEX. Like if you were getting it at the lows here, and I'm not even measuring from the exact lows, but you're up 700%, 800% on your HEX. And I think it went as high as, I think you could measure more X's, like 40x from the very, very low. I'll get it a bit better here.
Gotta wrap up in just
30x.
minutes.
All right. But yeah, definitely Icosa is one I'm going to be paying attention to. I like the one on Ethereum. I think it's a bit different than HEX because HEX, like, it looks like people actually brought their liquidity over with Icosa, like the Ethereum version. They brought it over to PulseChain. It might be a little bit different. Like HEX, it looks like people just stopped providing liquidity with it a little bit, whereas PHEX is still quite liquid on the PulseChain. I brought up this point before, but I think PulseChain, last time I checked, PulseChain on Ethereum, so the wrapped version on Ethereum, had more liquidity than the native Ethereum on Ethereum, or the native HEX on Ethereum.
Wow.
So so yeah, like I don't know if Richard Hart's tweet was like warranted, but I think it was just pointing out the obvious. Like there's not a whole lot of there's the liquidity for Hex used to be like 50 million USDC or close to 50 million USDC of bit support. It's not that much anymore. Like it there's yeah, there's not that amount of liquidity anymore. But yeah, I think we're running out of time here, so I might just wrap up on that. If Max has any last words he wants to take us out on.
Yeah, we do not have time to talk about the bridge. However, interesting tweet Kong shared with me from Hexologist. Wonder what happened to all those stables sitting on PulseChain right now when price starts pumping. What's your best guess? What's your best guess, Kong? In
What do
five
you
words or
guys
less?
think? I wonder. I really do wonder. Like
Does
I
it
think
have
they'll
to do
get
with this? Have to do with this?
I think it has to do with the number go up. You know.
Does that the number go up? Very nice.
Um, this will take about 30 seconds as well. Kind of has to do with the bridge, but you can see here the stable coins on Pulse Chain die from Ethereum. It is actually still there's about 5 or 6 million more stables than the last time we had like before the initial run up when Richard Hart was injecting. So there's still like a surplus of stable coins that are either in liquidity pools or sitting in people's wallets that are still on Pulse Chain. That haven't been bridged out right from Richard Hart's like injection. So it's not like all the stable coins are all gone. There's actually
Mm.
looks like there's still a little bit more than we initially started with, still sitting on the Pulse chain. Um, so yeah, Hexo, he begs the question though, like what will happen to all the ETH and all the stable coins, right? I
What's going to
wonder.
happen with all those stables in those wallets? I'd like to see the price go up. I'd like to see the price go up. I have no idea.
We got to pump it up.
That's a great song, by the way. That's great. Shout out to what is that song? Lovely Lady Lumps. Is that a Black Eyed Peas song? I can't remember. Been so long. Anyways, chat, you guys have been awesome. Sorry I can't get to your questions. I thought we had time for rapid fire, but we do not today. Crypto Kong, everyone. Where can people find out more about your stuff? And I think you got some cryptokong.pls.fy up there as well.
Yeah, you can find me that's sort of like my URL up there. If you type that into your search on whatever browser, like you'll find my link tree basically. Like it'll show you my Twitter, my YouTube. But if you're just looking for my handle, it's right here, CryptoKong145 on Twitter and YouTube. That's where you can find my stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you again for having me on. I hope I think we went a little bit like over time a little bit. So thank you for thank you for having me on.
Of course, man.
Appreciate it.
I know we can always go for like 2 hours, but I always usually have like 1 hour or less. But we make it work. Again, everyone, not financial advice. We certainly hope number go up, bridge go up, all things go up. Pulse chain, are you ready? I'm ready. I'm ready to rock and roll, but I'm ready to go now. So, everyone, Scivive and 5555. We are out.